Thanks for staying with us. So arguably, there's 70% of our voting population are young people. Despite this, significant number have repeatedly reduced to mere party members. How can we change the narrative of young people in the Nigerian politics today? And how do we get young people really more concerned about politics? Our guest today is a youth advocate, Hon.Dayo Israel. Good morning. Welcome to the show, sir.
Good morning, Mariah. How are you doing?
I'm very, very well. So, young people, why? I mean, I know you're a member of APC, and there's a lot of things going on in the party right now. What is your party doing to get young people involved, especially right now that the general elections are coming up very soon? What is your party doing in particular?
I think that before I talk about what my party is doing, I need to lay a foundation and a background to the importance of young people getting involved in politics, either electoral positions or active civic engagement in politics. In 1976, young people came together in Soweto, South Africa, and they wanted to protest. It was called the Soweto Uprising. They came together because the apartheid government in South Africa introduced Afrikaan as a language in the schools in South Africa. They also introduced the Bantustan Education Act and a lot of other policies that were not favorable to young people. And the youth went on the street and protested, 20,000 of them in South Africa, and about 600 of them were gunned down by police officers. We celebrate that day today, since 1976 till today, tomorrow, as the Day of the African Child. Now, what happened on that day? The government and the policymakers sat down together and developed a policy for young people that was against young people, and because young people didn't have a seat at the table, it led to the death of over 600 children. A future for us without us is not for us. It's important that young people have a seat at the table when it comes to decision-making around them. And I also go into the scriptures and give you a background of that. When Mordecai came to Esther and says, you are sitting in the palace with the king at the table representing our interests. And so therefore they're about to kill all the Jews in the land. You've got to go into the king and speak for us. We will be outside praying for you, but you've got to go there because you're carrying the seat at the table on our behalf. So she was like an intercessor. And so the reality is that as young people, we have to have a seat at the table to be able to defend our interests when policies and decisions that would affect us and affect our lives is being discussed. Because, for example, most of the leaders of the world today, most of the policymakers today may not be here in the next 50 years, you know, God keeping all of us. But many of the young people today still have over 50 years to be on this earth. And it's important to understand that if we're building a future for young people, we have to carry young people along. And that's why, for example, it's important that young people begin to play a role, not just in the political space, but also in the party space. Because the party is the bakery, where in the incubation room, where the people who are going to lead us as elected representatives are going to be identified and put forward. So we make a mistake. We wait until general election to begin to get involved in the people that lead us, whereas we need to get into the party, begin to get involved in the process, begin to engage policymakers, begin to vote in the
let me pause it for a second.
So that even before the primary level.
Yeah, go ahead, Togo.
So, Honorable Dayo, I wanted to, I know that you're a young person and you've been involved in governance, even politics for a while, and we've been hearing this thing over and over again. Oh, let's get more young people involved, let's get more young people involved. How can we increase the number of young people registering in the party, on the party level? Can you hear me? I'm asking, how can we increase the number of youth participation from the party level? And what have you done so far? And what do you think can be done to get more young people participating inside the party, more intellectual people participating, more educated people participating? From the universities and all of that.
Okay, did you get that, Dayo? Hello, Honorable Dayo, did you get that? I think we're having some technical issues. Hello, Hon.Dayo, are you there?
I think he can't
Stay
hear
with us. We'll be right back.
Stay tuned. Your View will be right back.
Thanks for staying with us. We still have Hon.Dayo Israel. Hello, sir. Are you still there?
Yes, I am.
Yeah, so Tokwe's question about intra-politics, with young people getting involved within the party. How can we increase that number within the parties?
So first, as I was saying earlier, and as Tokwe alluded, it's important that we make politics sexy to young people. We make governance and politics interactive, engaging for young people. We have to make it attractive. And it's a two-way street. So you've got the party's got to go to the young people, and the young people have got to go to the party. In essence, the party, for example, my party, Progressive Congress, I've got to do more to be able to make the party more attractive to young people, make it more youth-friendly, and make people understand the policies of the progressives and why they should be part of the progressive family. At the same time, young people must understand that it's our responsibility to get involved in issues that affect us. Because from your birth to your death is governed by politics and government. And so I say this a lot. You're not born until the government says you're born. That's when they issue you a birth certificate. You have not gone to school until government says you've gone to school. That's how they give you a WAEC certificate. You've not been married until government says you're legally married. That's why they issue you a marriage certificate. And you're not dead until the government confirms that you're dead, and that's why they issue you a death certificate. So if you don't have a death certificate, the reality is that the family cannot access your properties and your wealth if you don't have a will or you die intestate. So it's so important that governance surrounds us from birth to death, and politics is the vehicle through which to get into that space and that process. And so we've got to get young people to understand that. And that's one of the reasons why I'm running for the office of the National Youth Leader of the All Progressive Congress. I want to be the National Youth Leader of the All Progressive Congress to be able to showcase the young people of our party to the leadership of our party, to expose them to more opportunities, and also to showcase our party, young people on campus, in schools, even from a very young age. Ironically, even before I decided to run for office, this has always been a passion. So 2 years ago, I started something I called the Institute of Progressive Policy and Development Studies that I actually put in for registration with the CST, because I felt that there was a need to showcase and to begin to progressive ideologies among young people. And so one of the things that I want to do, by the grace of God, if and when elected as the national leader of the APC, is to begin to first let people even understand that there's something that is called the progressive ideologies that was started in the days of Awolowo and the Akintolas, free education, welfare-based society. There's an ideology behind the progressive, and we need to get young people to understand that. So when people begin to believe in those ideologies, they get attracted to political parties that flow, because we must go back to ideological politics. When people say, okay, what's this about for us? So there are a lot of activities and content that the political parties need to begin to create to get young people.
Let me get a few more questions in for you, Honorable Dayo. Go ahead.
Okay, so Honorable Dayo, I feel that many young Nigerians are political or are politically aware because you need to see them on Twitter. They know any topic that falls, we discuss it and we discuss it well. But the thing is, it ends there. It does not reflect, or it is not pushed into political parties. And I've been thinking about it, and I am thinking that maybe young Nigerians do not know how to join political parties. They don't know what the criteria is. We all have ideas of what it should be. People talk about a lot of money to join, or when you join, they use you as thugs. Could you explain to young Nigerians watching you today what it will take to join a political party so that all our energy and all our ideas will be better channeled?
And you're very right, and that's part of the challenge that we have. So I'm a grassroots person. I've run for chairman in Lagos Mainland local government, and I've run for House of Assembly. I maintain a strong political structure among young people in my constituency, on my local government. And this is one thing so I go for ward meetings in the party, and 90% of the people in those ward meetings are elderly women, in particular, and then of course men, but largely elderly women, old women grown enough to be my grandmother or my mother. And then I remember remember when I was running and I would go with a group of young people to the political party meetings, and they felt out of place because they were seeing a lot of elderly people there. And I said to them, if you don't get involved here, it's your failure, because the old woman that you see sitting down here determines the future and the people that are going to be our leaders. So it's very easy for young people to understand. And what I want to do, by the grace of God, with the leadership and the team of young people who are in the AP All Progressive Youth Wing, for example, is to begin to push the engagement of young people to be able to, yes, go to the political party meetings at the ward meetings. So you need to go to your ward. If every politics is local, you have a ward. Your street, your address is linked to a ward. You need to go to a ward meeting in your local government. You need to go and register in that ward. You need to take your party membership card. You need to begin to volunteer in your ward meeting. You need to begin to participate in programs and activities. And from there, you begin to engage even at your local government level. You begin to engage at your state level. But you must first register to be a member of the party at your ward. And part of the things that we want to do with by the grace of God helping us that we get elected in the APC Youth Wing that we're going to begin to lead by the grace of the Almighty is to actually create a membership system for young people to actually be part of the youth wing itself, so that we can create activities and content, that are young, youth friendly, that are 21st century Twitter, friendly and all of that. I give an example. The lady's life is so small. About 2 months ago, even before I decided to come out for this position, I actually started a youth wing. I called it the Iberatu APC New Tribe, for my own party group in my local government, identifying the young people on campus in university. Some of them, I support them with JAM forms, GCE forms, and all of that, putting them together to begin to come. And so the conversation we have at that level is different from the conversation that the parent has at, their own level. And, that is good. And we want to spread that across the 774 local government to begin to see how we can be able to create engagement for young people that is, because the needs and the concerns of my generation is different from the needs and the concerns of our father. Right. So we as a political party need to create an enabling environment for young people to come into us and find an expression and find a place for themselves. Young people have so much energy. They have so much passion. They want to do something great for their country. They only need a platform to do that great. And so the political parties are going to be doing the service to themselves if they don't open up to young people and become youth-friendly. It would not be sustainable in the future, because the future is young people.
All right.
Remember when you ran for the mainland chairperson office? I also remember your journey, a bit of it, into politics. How do you carry along the larger percentage, at least 99% Nigerian youth not interested in politics presently? Because I can remember a quote of yours that says governance is about problem solving. These youths are angry, aggrieved. They don't understand how to solve the problem. They're looking for who to blame. How do you carry this larger number of people on the other side who's not interested in getting forms, doing all the things that you mentioned about joining the parties? How do you carry them along in governance?
Thank you so much. We've got to be intentional about a lot of things. And one of the things that God helping us that I become the national leader of the APC is that I want to sit down together with other young people, because, this is a huge work that we need to do. Our country is so divided. We have different ideas and different visions for the country. To begin to bring young people from the south and the north together to come and say, how do we want to engage other young people together? How do we want to make sure that we can make politics attractive? So it's not a one-man thing. But of course, one of my own visions and my own thought is that we need to begin to create content and activities that makes the political structure for young people more engaging, more youth-friendly, more attractive to the young people. So, for example, in your political meetings that you have together, what are you discussing? What are you talking about? And like you said, and you alluded, politics and governance must be about problem solving. That's what leadership is about. So what is the concerns of our young people? They want to get a job. They want to be, employed. They want to have livelihood. They want to suffer, to have, a means of survival. Part of what we want to begin to do is engaging policymakers, engaging the government, in particular the APC-led state government and federal government by the grace of God, to say, this is the promise that we've made to young people. Let's fulfill more of those promises. The more of those promises that we can fulfill for young people, the more empathic the young people see that our party is to them, the more they want to come in and get involved, because they understand that it's actually benefit for you to be part of decision making.
Honorable Dayo, what's pretty interesting about you is that we all witnessed how you started. A lot of these politicians, many of us don't know how they started, just kind of became politicians. Well, we saw you from, is it governor of the year or governor or something, and we saw how you grew into this, how you got involved, how you get into politics. And we're seeing you grow up. You're currently in suburb, and now you're running for national chair. If you become that, that's a good fit. Where are you heading? Where is the final destination? Where do you hope to continue to go further into governorship, the presidency? You're just content where you are? We've seen you from start, and we see where you're heading. So give us a sneak peek of where you're heading.
Mariah, you know that I have all my life served young people. One scripture that drives me is in the book of Acts and says, and David served God in his generation. I'm just a vessel. I have a mandate to be a representative of my generation and to serve my generation in every capacity. At 14, I was elected into the Children's Parliament. I was one-day commissioner. I was youth ambassador to the UN. I led Nigerian government delegation to UNGAS in New York, World Water Forum in South Africa, Japan, WSA South Africa. From when I was a child, from when I was a toddler, and all of that, I have been doing this. And I've just been following the trajectory that I believe that God has in plan for me. If another assignment comes tomorrow and say, and God says, son, I want to use you in the palace or in the parliament, I'm ready. I just see myself as a vessel. And that identity actually also places a burden, because you now understand that you're on assignment, you're representing a generation, you cannot afford to fail, because your failure is going to be tagged as a failure of your generation. It is a burden that I've taken up, and I pray for grace every day. But for me, the passion is, how can I serve God in my generation? How can I help to empower the young people of my generation? How can I be able to use the opportunities and the experience that I've gathered over the years? From when I was 16, I was leading youth delegation to, international conference. I remember in 2002, I led a young delegation. I was the youngest, and I was the team leader. It was supported by Afsat Abiola and Bolaji Balogun of Econet Wireless at that time, and I think it was British Airways and a few other agencies. I took 8 young people from Nigeria to the UK, all expenses paid, including Muiz Bello, the late Muiz Olayenka Bello, one of our young, vibrant leaders in Lagos State, to go and attend the International Summer School for Young Activists, in Southwest Glamorgan. Every year I've been doing that, passionate about empowering other young people. Fantastic. And so wherever this leads in the hand of God, but I would continue to serve my generation like David did.
Fantastic. Thank you so much, Hon.Dayo Israel. Well done. So this weekend, this Saturday, I think, is the elections for what you're doing, and we wish you the best and hope you actually attain to what you wish for.
Thank you so much.
You. That's all we can take on the show today. Hey, get involved, man.
Yeah.
I mean, I like the fact that we're seeing his steady. You can trace his source. Many of these politicians have no idea, so I'm happy for him, and I just hope that he gets to where he's hoping to get. That is all we can take on the show today. We'll see you tomorrow. Bye for now.